Imagine stepping out into the backyard and seeing nothing but a vast, lifeless expanse of gray concrete. It feels cold, uninviting, and frankly a bit unfinished, like a parking lot that wandered into a residential garden by mistake. We have all seen these standard builder-grade slabs that offer zero personality and even less inspiration for outdoor living. The challenge we faced was taking this blank, industrial canvas and breathing soul into it without breaking the bank, aiming for a total transformation that feels less like a quick fix and more like a destination. Millions of backyards suffer from the dreaded gray slab syndrome, but we decided to look toward the Mediterranean for a cure. Drawing inspiration from the warm, enclosed courtyards of Spain and Morocco, we set a goal to replicate the look of expensive, hand-painted encaustic tiles without the nightmare of demolition. By capping the budget at a strict $300, we got creative with stencils and paint to transform the floor, then softened the edges with potted olive trees and overhead string lights. It is amazing how limitations can drive the most innovative design solutions. If you enjoy seeing these budget-friendly transformations, please hit that like button and subscribe to follow along with our next challenge. First, we must address the foundation, because no amount of paint can hide a dirty surface. We started by pressure washing the entire slab to remove years of grime, moss, and loose debris that had accumulated over time. It is absolutely critical to get the concrete down to its raw state, so the porch paint can adhere properly. We spent a good afternoon just scrubbing and rinsing, ensuring that every nook and cranny was free of dust. If we skip this step, we are essentially guaranteeing that our beautiful design will peel away after the first heavy rainstorm hits. Once the surface was bone dry, which took about 24 hours in the sun, we applied a high-quality concrete bonding primer. We chose a solid white base coat to act as the grout line for our faux tile look. Rolling this out was surprisingly satisfying, effectively erasing the dreary gray and creating a bright, blank canvas. We made sure to apply 2 thin coats rather than 1 thick one to prevent any bubbling. This stage is where the transformation really begins to feel possible, as the brightness immediately opens up the space and reflects more light. Now comes the most crucial design decision: selecting the right stencil pattern. We wanted something that screamed Hacienda, but wasn't too busy for a large surface area. We settled on a 12-inch starburst pattern that mimics traditional Moroccan cement tiles. The larger the stencil, the faster the job goes, so we advise against using tiny, intricate patterns for a whole patio. We tape the stencil down securely to prevent it from shifting, because alignment issues early on will ruin the entire geometric effect as we move across the floor. The painting technique itself requires a lot of patience and a very dry brush. We learned quickly that overloading the roller causes the paint to bleed under the stencil, ruining the crisp lines we were aiming for. We used a dense foam roller and offloaded most of the paint onto a paper towel before touching the concrete. It feels counterintuitive to use so little paint, but building up the color in layers is the only way to get that sharp, professional tile look. It is a slow, meditative process that demands a steady rhythm. We worked in sections, starting from the corner furthest from the house, and working our way back toward the door so we didn't paint ourselves into a corner. Moving the stencil requires care. We had to wipe the back of it frequently to prevent wet paint from transferring to the white base coat. We found that having two identical stencils sped up the process significantly, allowing one to be cleaned while the other was in use. It is a small investment that saves hours of frustration when the acrylic paint starts to get tacky. Inevitably, despite our best efforts, there were a few spots where the paint bled through or the lines weren't perfect. But here is the thing: real handmade cement tiles are never perfect either. We embraced the slight imperfections as part of the rustic charm. However, for the egregious errors, we kept a small artist's brush and a cup of the white base paint handy for touch-ups. Spending an hour correcting the worst smudges made a massive difference in the overall crispness of the final design. To protect our hard work from the elements, sealing the patio was a non-negotiable step. We applied 2 coats of a clear, non-yellowing concrete sealer with a matte finish. We wanted to avoid a high-gloss look, which can make the floor look like plastic rather than stone or tile. The sealer enriches the colors slightly and provides a crucial barrier against UV rays and moisture. It also makes the surface much easier to sweep and clean later on, ensuring the longevity of our $300 investment. With the floor complete, the space immediately felt like an outdoor room. but it was still empty. We needed to define the perimeter to create that cozy courtyard feeling. We gathered mismatched terracotta pots from around the yard and thrift stores to create a container garden. Grouping pots of different sizes and heights creates visual interest and mimics the lush, cluttered look of a Spanish patio. We weren't aiming for symmetry here. We wanted an organic collection that looked like it had evolved over decades. For the planting scheme, we focused on drought-tolerant species that thrive in the heat, reinforcing the Mediterranean theme. We planted 2 small olive trees in the largest pots to anchor the corners of the patio. Olive trees are the quintessential symbol of the region, and their silvery green foliage contrasts beautifully with the warm tones of the terracotta and the stark pattern on the floor. Even small saplings can have a huge impact when placed in substantial containers. We also incorporated fragrant herbs like rosemary, lavender, and creeping thyme into the smaller pots. This engages another sense, smell, which is often overlooked in design. When the sun hits the herbs, the aroma drifts across the seating area, transporting us straight to the coast of Spain. Plus, these plants are incredibly low maintenance and useful for cooking, adding a layer of functionality to the decorative elements. It is about creating an immersive experience, not just a visual one. Furniture selection was the next hurdle, given our tight remaining budget. Instead of buying a new set, we refurbished an old metal bistro set with a can of matte black spray paint. The black metal contrasts sharply with the white and gray floor, adding a touch of modern definition to the rustic setting. We added colorful outdoor cushions in warm ochre and deep red to tie in the sunset colors often found in Spanish textiles. Reusing what we had allowed us to allocate more money to the finishing touches. Lighting is what truly transforms a space from day to night. We strung heavy-duty commercial cafe lights in a zigzag pattern overhead. To do this without a pergola, we cemented wooden posts into planters at the corners of the patio. This created a ceiling of light that creates an intimate, enclosed feeling even under the open sky. The warm glow of the Edison bulbs reflects off the white base of the floor, bathing the entire courtyard in a soft, magical ambience that makes guests want to linger. We also added a few solar-powered lanterns on the ground near the potted plants. These cast interesting shadows through the foliage and highlight the stencil pattern at night. Layering lighting at different heights, overhead string lights, table candles, and floor lanterns creates depth and drama. It avoids the flat, harsh look of a single floodlight and makes the space feel sophisticated. It creates a mood that is perfect for late-night conversations with a glass of wine. Actually, we were considering adding an outdoor rug, but we realized it would cover up the beautiful floor we just labored over. The stenciled pattern acts as the rug itself, defining the seating area without the need for textiles that might get moldy. This is a huge advantage of the painted floor technique. It provides the visual anchoring of a rug with the durability of concrete. It simplifies maintenance significantly, as we can just hose it down when it gets dusty. Let's talk about the color palette for a second. We stuck to neutrals, charcoal gray for the stencil over a white base, because it is timeless. While traditional Spanish tiles often feature bright blues and yellows, those colors can fade quickly in the sun and might clash with future furniture changes. A high-contrast neutral floor allows us to swap out cushion colors or flower types seasonally without worrying about clashing. It provides a versatile backdrop that can evolve with our style. One detail that really elevated the look was aging the new terracotta pots. We used a mixture of garden lime and water to whitewash the exterior of the cheap orange pots. This gave them a chalky, weathered patina that usually takes years to develop naturally. It stopped them from looking like they came straight from the hardware store and made them feel like antiques. This simple DIY hack cost pennies but added a layer of authenticity to the old world vibe we were chasing. We also brought in some wooden elements to warm up the space. A rustic wooden crate turned on its side serves as a side table, and a wooden serving board rests on the bistro table. The natural wood tones bridge the gap between the cold concrete and the warm terracotta. Texture is key when working with a lot of hard surfaces like stone and metal. The wood adds a necessary softness and organic touch that makes the space feel lived in and comfortable. Managing the $300 budget required strict discipline. The paint and sealer took up about half of the funds. The stencil was $30, and the string lights were another $50. That left us with very little for decor, which is why the thrifted pots and refurbished furniture were essential. We tracked every penny in a spreadsheet to ensure we didn't overspend. It proves that style is not about how much money we spend, but how creatively we use the resources we have. Maintenance is a valid concern for painted floors. We have to be realistic. This is paint on concrete, not fired ceramic. We recommend using furniture pads on the bottom of metal chairs to prevent scratching the sealer. We also avoid dragging heavy items across the surface. Every couple of years, the clear coat might need a fresh application to keep the protection level high. But considering the cost difference between this and real tile, the minor maintenance is a fair trade-off. The durability has surprisingly held up well against the elements. The porch and patio paint is designed to expand and contract with the concrete, resisting peeling. However, standing water can be an issue, so we made sure the patio had the proper slope for drainage before we started. If water pools in one spot for days, it can lift the paint eventually. Keeping the patio swept and free of wet leaves is the best way to preserve the finish through the winter months. The psychological impact of this transformation was immediate. Before, the backyard was a place we passed through to take out the trash. Now, it is an extension of the living room, effectively adding square footage to the home. We find ourselves drinking coffee out there in the morning and eating dinner there at night. It changes the way we interact with our own property, turning a neglected liability into a beloved asset. It invites us to slow down and enjoy the outdoors. Hosting friends in the new space has been a delight. People naturally gravitate toward the courtyard now. The string lights create a festive atmosphere, and the patterned floor is always a conversation starter. Guests often can't believe it is stenciled concrete until they touch it. It creates a sense of pride to say, "We did this ourselves." It shows that we don't need a contractor or a massive bank loan to create a home that feels luxurious and welcoming. This project is also incredibly scalable. Whether we have a tiny apartment balcony or a massive suburban patio, the principles are the same. A smaller space would be even cheaper and faster to execute. Conversely, a larger space could use a larger stencil pattern to keep the scale appropriate. The flexibility of this DIY allows it to be adapted to almost any concrete surface. It is a universal solution for the ugly gray slab problem that plagues so many homes. Finally, this project is a testament to the power of DIY empowerment. It can be intimidating to paint a permanent surface, but the risk is low. If we hated it, we could always paint over it with solid gray again. But we didn't hate it. We loved it. Taking that leap of faith and putting in the sweat equity paid off in a huge way. It gave us the confidence to tackle other projects around the house, knowing that with a little paint and vision, we can change anything. And that brings us to the final result. A space that feels worlds away from the bland concrete slab we started with. By spending just $300 and a weekend of effort, we created a Spanish-inspired courtyard that invites relaxation and connection. The combination of the faux tile floor, the rustic olive trees, and the warm cafe lights proves that atmosphere is built through design choices, not just high-end materials. It is a reminder that our homes should serve us. And sometimes all it takes is a stencil to unlock that potential. So, if we find ourselves staring at a boring gray patio and dreaming of a Mediterranean getaway, we definitely shouldn't wait for a massive renovation budget. We have the tools to transform that space right now. It all starts with prepping the canvas, rolling on a stencil that mimics hand-painted tile, and bringing in the magic with potted olive trees and string lights. If this $300 challenge sparked some creativity, please hit that like button and subscribe to catch our next design adventure. We hope this inspires us all to look at our outdoor spaces with fresh eyes and finally reveal the hidden hacienda waiting beneath the concrete.